wanted to go ahead and get this going here and give you actionable information that you can look at. Feel free to reach out anytime. You could send me a link or give me a call if you think I missed something or got it wrong, or you just want to say hi. I'm on multiple platforms linked with my name and phone number there. This is at the point in Cherry Grove, South Carolina, just a few miles south of the North Carolina border. We'll see the sunrise momentarily. I update my research library day and night. If you want to go ahead and take a look around, you might find it compelling. For quite a while now, I've been exposing the reality of the advancement of technology. Artificial intelligence, as many refer to it as, is a tool, or could be also a weapon, could be a tool for the advancement of humanity, a resource to better use what resources we have available to us. It's just that there's an alignment issue between AI and humanity. And I've got documentaries that I include and updates that are actually, in some cases, pretty disturbing. Yet, I can't think of any reason why I wouldn't make it available for your consideration. Sometimes people have the perspective that they don't have time. We all have time. We all have responsibilities. So what would be the best use of my time, your time? I'm not responsible for what you do. I'm responsible for what I believe God created me to do, and that is to expose the truth about what's really going on in this world. You've maybe heard it said that there's some certainties in life, death and taxes. Well, there's a group of people in our midst. They're not just necessarily people. We're animated by electricity and entities that can give our avatar this interface with this reality. I want to be real specific on how I say this, because we're living in unprecedented times when we've got robot dogs, we've got people that are being remote controlled by technology that many don't even realize exists, with brain-computer interface technology, and there's a control of perception, our perception of reality, and quite frankly, we don't know what we don't know. So when there's technology that can remote control people and bugs, apparently, and animals, how about that? Some of the technical terms you can listen to Dr. James Giordano talk about, or Yuval Noah Harari, where they're talking about we can now hack all the human beings. Well, maybe. I believe I'm more of a free-range version of that, where I'll do what the Almighty created me to do, and a lot of these entities are doing their own thing, apparently. Building a digital Tower of Babel, thinking they can live forever in silico or in computer memory. They may want to pause and reflect. on where this goes. So it is an epic battle between good and evil, and the evil that's going on is very hard to acknowledge or to look at. My response to that is to make the truth known. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 58 million people perish every year, and then there can be events. And some of the videos talk about, and some of the architects of AI are talking about existential threat to humanity that artificial intelligence is. So I've got supporting data for all that. From autonomous weapons that don't need a human being in the kill chain, apparently, as Alex Karp talks about, from Palantir, and Peter Thiel giving a way too long of a pause about humanity being important. Well, is it important that humanity survives? And there's all kinds of commentary on this. And a small, any of these, this is obviously a live stream, and then I'm going to add it to a playlist later. Apparently I can't add it to a playlist ahead of time for whatever reason. There's a lot of censorship, so even though there's the view of more freedom of expression, freedom of speech, they can unplug any channel at any time, apparently. Now, I do believe that the Almighty is all-powerful and all-knowing, and so even though the human being, our brains, can be manipulated by technology, I believe the only real safe place to be is in Christ, to actually be born of the Holy Spirit. Now, you may know him as Jesus, Yeshua, Yahweh, the living word, the living water, the great I am, the Alpha and Omega. He knows the end from the beginning. He referred to himself as the way, the truth, and the life. I'm totally in on all that. I mean, I really believe that. So this experience that we're having is temporary, and yet we're apparently eternal beings having a temporary human experience for those of us that are doing that. Then there are some that can be possessed by demons, apparently. That's how that works out. So it happened in the gospel accounts, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You can read about it, you can listen to it. So there's we can't think about it all. So what do we choose to think about? How do we frame this reality? Well, I believe it's important to focus on the truth. So I listen to the Bible a lot. I believe it's ultimately the message is true. I know there's people that take issue with that. So largely people believe what they want, and what I had an opportunity to do was to trade in my rags for his riches. I thought I was born again in 1982 until I actually was in 2014. So it's easy to not do the things that the Almighty doesn't want me to do, because he changed my appetite. So my desire is more to obey and to rely on him to empower me to do that. So he's not a cosmic killjoy. He actually gave me and continually gives me the desires of my heart. He puts them there. And then he gives me the power to carry out what he created me to do. So because of the nature of censorship and all this, my name and phone number link across multiple platforms. It's not all the same information. It's a wide variety. I've got a link tree on each of the platforms I'm on or will be on or was on. I'm not sure how that's all going to work out. But for now, I'm active on a lot of platforms. So, one of the videos is talking about the the problem that we're having with the world heating up so much and people not getting hydrated enough. And we've got so I put a teaspoon of a full spectrum sea salt in my gallon of water, and I put healthy, and it's reverse osmosis, carbon filtered, and solar activated water. I've got a portable desalinator so I can desalinate salt water, and I can MacGyver all kinds of ways of doing stuff if I need to. The desalinator I got from Amazon, it was a couple $100. It's called a PureWell. None of these mentions are compensated endorsements. I'm simply mentioning it for your benefit. So I am wearing the lanyard. It's convenient, so people can draw the correlation between me on the beach with my tripod and iPhone doing a live stream. It's a broadcast. It's a bit different than a direct recording. And they can come up and ask me questions if they want. The reason I didn't set up out on the beach the way I normally do is we've got a tide coming in and it's going to be pretty high, and I just decided to come on out here and do this. Now people reflect out here off of the wet sand. As you can see, the young men there fishing. And then we've got photo ops that happen like that with a pregnant woman there. That's pretty obvious. So the truth isn't based on popular opinion. It's not popular and it's not an opinion. It's simply the reality. There's a kaleidoscope of conspiracy theories to obfuscate the truth and hide the actual conspirators and what they're up to. They actually create this system of control, and propaganda and deception controls the narrative by confusing the population with corrupt information, truth in the movies in a veiled sort of way in the form of predictive programming, and then a lot of propaganda and false information in the government schools and libraries and movies, magazines, and entertainment, so-called. A corruption of the food, water, air, recreational substances that can further complicate determining what the reality actually is. So I'm gonna just set this on down for a moment. And I think that's pretty level there. So one of the reasons why I bathe in reverse osmosis carbon filtered drinking water is because it's really healthy. I add healthy electrolytes, a tablespoon of boron, baking soda, magnesium, sea salt, a full spectrum sea salt that has micronutrients in it, as well as apple cider vinegar, and then also a few drops, 7 drops of each of the 2-part liquid chlorine dioxide. It's a water treatment for like camping and that. You might want to look into that. There's things I really can't elaborate on that. There's because of censorship and what would perhaps happen to this video and or my channel. So unless you're one of these people out here on the beach, you're looking at this on a screen. There are people I meet out here that are subscribers, followers, friends, family, and all that. But from the standpoint of living in a simulated reality, there's a lot of simulated perception in the brain where people look at this world and they're deceived and they don't know it. And if they're proud, they don't want to hear it. If they're humble and they want to know they've been bamboozled, well, welcome, you've come to the right place. Maybe you've heard it said, do your own research. You can look as hard as you want, and this system of control can trick people and get them all confused. What I've done is created a library with the help of friends and family all around the world, creating documentaries and information. I'm exposing the truth tellers and the deceivers alike. You might want to take a close look. Some of your heroes might actually be villains in disguise. Even Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. So you can put lipstick on it and it can still be a dude. You can change the plumbing and padding. It can still be genetically a male, and there's all kinds of trickery going on with people being a different gender than they're presenting, and it gets really weird and complicated. Like I say, the Almighty isn't a cosmic killjoy. He just wants to let people know the truth. Well, that's not all he does. It looks like I'm back. So there's also comedy and full-length primetime movies for your consideration. Remember, sometimes these movies are, like I say, a form of predictive programming. And they're telling us what's going to happen ahead of time in some cases. So it's pretty humid here, and we've been getting rain lately. We've been a couple of feet low. It's been really dry. I believe we're almost like 2 feet down, but in the past week, I think we've had about 5 inches of rain maybe. Not exactly sure. It depends on where you are. Anyway, it's a beautiful day out here. Just wanted to do a live stream. What I wanted to say too is that yes, we live in a simulation and a base reality as well. For those of us that are still walking around like I am on the beach, getting sun when I can. It's real healthy for the body and for the perception. You can learn about the value of sunlight, of grounding or earthing, getting healthy nutrients, avoiding toxins, and all that. So rather than try and cover it in each video, what I'll do is make it available in the library that I regularly update, and it's free with a internet connection. It's worldwide. I've deployed it to the power structure of the world. So they like to censor matters like free energy and how they're actually manipulating humanity with technology. And in many cases, the consent of humanity that's unaware of what they're actually giving consent to. And if you don't check the box that you agree with the terms of service, evidently you won't be able to access some of these features, whatever they are, whatever the technology is. So that in the middle of the view is the Cherry Grove, is the Prince Resort. They're building a new hotel, a Hampton Inn. That's about 2.5 miles away. North Carolina is about 2.5 miles away, right over there. So I want to thank you for your public and private encouragement. Feel free to reach out anytime